Mark, the performance against Virginia Tech, do you see that as kind of this offense's optimal offense, the way that you guys want to run, week by week, and really what you guys hope to do? Or is that just something that Virginia Tech showed on film that you guys were able to take advantage of?
No, we'd like to get there. We've been growing towards it, but and being able to run the ball a little bit better helped in the second half, and it was our best game, and we had a lot of guys down, but I thought our kids really acted like nothing was wrong, and really approached with a positive attitude, and it started with Kenny, and we're headed in the right direction. It's just been a tough year. We have not had what I thought in June would be the guys that we would play with on the field altogether ever. So, but everybody's going through that. So I thought it was a really good game, and kind of, really focus on Clemson now. No rest for the weary.
Mark, what did you see from some of those three offensive linemen that started the other day, and what has that done at practice this week with those guys kind of pushing for some playing time?
I thought they played well. They did a good job. We kind of wanted to make sure we got the ball out early, like we had at Florida State, because Kenny was, had the injury, and then, but they've done a good job. And what you see is they're carrying themselves with a lot more confidence, which is what you want in any football player in any team or offense. So, yeah, you see that part. They know they can do it, and they've done it. You can talk about it, but until you put it on tape, it's anybody's guess. So proud of those guys. I thought Coach Borbley did a great job. I thought, Coach Beatty did a really good job with some of the young guys we had to play with. It wasn't just the O-line. We had a bunch of guys that kind of hadn't practiced and were out.
Mark, what's different with the challenge with Clemson this week that's unique to them?
They're probably the third. They're right there with Notre Dame's defense. They're a little bit different. They blitz a little bit more than Notre Dame, and probably a little bit more like Miami in some of the things that way. They got really good talent everywhere. There's no weaknesses. There's not a guy you can pinpoint. They play a lot of players, and we got to play our best game and build off of not just last week. I think the last 2 weeks. Take care of the ball and make first downs and trying to tire them out. They've got a lot of guys, so it's you're trying to find weaknesses, and we're really worried about ourselves just executing. We're on the road, and it won't be 80,000, but I'm sure there'll be a little bit more noise than we had at Hines, and so dealing with that, which the young guys will have to deal with some. So that Clemson gives you a bunch of problems.
Mark, what do you think has clicked in the red zone? Like you mentioned, the last two games after that area of the field had kind of been a struggle for you guys earlier in the season, finishing off drives and not settling for field goals.
Well, we didn't really. The first two drives we didn't. We jumped off sides, and then Kenny missed one of the routes. Maturity, better play calling. I mean, I got to do a better job. We talked about it. We really emphasize it in practice. We have a period a day, Tuesday, Wednesday, each day, talking about here's the plays we're going to do and here's what we need to do. Running the ball is a big part of that. But I've never been around. I think we have 22 plays on the 1 yard line. I can remember it going to the Eagles. I think we only had 7 the entire year, 16 games. So, we've had a better plan, and the coaches have done a good job of coming up with some things, and got to continue to do that. It's especially this week. If we don't get touchdowns, and we know Clemson's going to score. That's not to take anything away from our defense, but Lawrence is back, and so we got to try to match them and find a way to get a 7 over their 3 to win this kind of game.
Have you been pleased with how the offense has performed through 9 games this season? And if not, how do you balance that with, like you said, guys missing, not really, being at 100% each game?
And I would say as a coach, it's frustrating. I think always injuries are what take you down, and but I think you look at the games, and I'm not knocking Joey because Joey got put in a tough situation against 2 really good teams and defenses, Miami and Notre Dame. But when Kenny's been there, I think he's been really, really good. He's a great leader and understands, and we've got a little bit of a give and take relationship that he kind of can think what I'm thinking, and I have good ears and listen to what he's seeing out there and what I'm seeing. So, and that'll develop with Joey and Davis and have a little bit with Nick. But, since when he's in there, then we're a threat. We're a real threat. We can play with anybody in the country, and I think our guys believe that. And, his experience of throwing with the receivers, he takes most of the throws, and that hurts the second quarterback in that way without that's where the lack of spring practice or summer gets you. But, when Kenny's there, we're going to lean on him, and and that's kind of what we did last week, and a little more since he was healthy. Probably the one plus was we wanted to play against Georgia Tech. We're prepared, but it gave Kenny another week, and he's felt a lot better being able to do drills and some of the things instead of just standing there as a statue.
Mark, what's been the biggest difference in the last two games with the run game, getting in sync against Florida State and Virginia Tech?
We weren't playing Notre Dame. Clemson's got a pretty good running game. I think they had 32 carries for 40 yards against Notre Dame with the Player of the Year. So the guys you're playing against, it's a steel curtain. And I think that has something to do with it. But I think our guys have a lot of pride. And I think Coach Borbley and Coach Powell have done a good job in talking, just getting some run schemes. And, we've been banged up there a little bit. But now AJ and Vince, they played pretty well. And so just trying to lean on it. I got to stay with the run a little bit more. I think that's always an issue. You're going to, if you miss one. So I think just being more consistent. And we've been more consistent in practice since the week off. We're not as tired. I think, we had some shuffling pieces there before Miami and Notre Dame where guys didn't practice. They played, and you could see the mistakes in that way. And so we've had everybody with the time off practicing, and I think we're the timing's much better in the run game.
Mark, DJ Turner, he's had his best games when Jordan was down. How do you kind of get both of them working together on the field at the same time?
Yeah, we have packages. We have a package for both of them in there, but then, Jordan was out, so we didn't use it. And Jordan DJ took some of Jordan's reps or plays from that package. So, there's concepts that you design to get that guy to be the primary receiver. And that's what we did last week with DJ. We've done that with Jordan. We did it with Frenchie. I did it with Andy Isabella. We did it with Hines Ward and Steelers. So that's part of the plan. And, I hope we'll have both those guys. But that was the plan with DJ. And last week, knowing that we weren't sure if Jordan was going to play, and I said, it's just these times, you really don't know. I've never done this before. I went pregame, and then I went into the locker room by myself, and I put up the plays I thought, because then I had an idea who could play. I really didn't know in the morning, and we kind of took those plays in the second half, and we knew that Jordan wouldn't be able to, and then DJ, and we put together some things that way, and I'll probably have to do the same thing this week down at Clemson. But, I've always tried to get the ball to our best player in that way, and DJ had a hot hand, and just the way they played coverage gave us some free access and some things to DJ.
Mark, I'm sure that an offensive coordinator and a play caller deviates from his game plan as the game progresses. Have you had to do that more than usual this year?
Not until the BC game. When Kenny got hurt, then all of a sudden, then that changed things because he couldn't run, and it was really in the second half we really had to, and he did make a one run, but that changed it. And then, trying to get some things that Joey's comfortable with and possibly Davis, and the next two games, so your plan's a little bit different. And then, Kenny comes back, but then you got a lot of, you got to make sure we're protecting him, and, might max protect it and get away from some of the 5-man protection. So, yeah, it's been a challenge, and, I feel better this week, not going against Clemson, just from our end, that Kenny ran around a little bit better. He made a few plays with his legs last week, and that's always a plus. And, just carrying himself with more confidence. And he has always been a confident guy, but No, but we weren't sure about when we went into Florida State, was trying to be really careful and get the ball out of his hands. And our line did a good job, and they've done a good job all year with the pass protection.
Mark, you guys got Vincent Davis a little bit more involved in the passing game. 5 catches, 41 yards, stretching. Virginia Tech east-west a little bit more. Is that something that you feel might be a little untapped in this offense that you guys can take advantage of more? Is Vincent's speed in the passing game?
Somewhat, but any of the backs can go out there. It was just a look that they were giving us in an empty set that I kind of hung it on there. We were an easy throw for Kenny early, which was the plan if we were going to go empty to get it out, so that we weren't going to try to put those tackles on an edge on out in space. So it was to get it out fast, and they just didn't really pressure Vince. They were worried about DJ, some of those plays, and yeah, I think all the backs. I think he's really, really improved since he came here, being able to catch the football and understand the coverages. Coach Powell's done a really good job with him. AJ's been pretty good with it. Izzy's learning how to do that. Had a good catch against BC. So all the running backs, we'd like to incorporate them in the passing game more as we go.
Any final questions?
Mark, it's a question. I apologize for the noise. We get asked often, but why is it important in between plays for you to have face-to-face with Kenny or your quarterback?
Well, there's always little tips. In the NFL, you get to do it over a communicator. And this is just the way we do practice. Some of the things that way might say, hey, this is where they safety blitz. This is, balls on a hash, look at a corner. All right. There are times, say you like this, you're not, we go through the big plan, but then the game changes or something. I might remind them on a certain play that, hey, you got a side adjustment. Don't forget you're hot. So there's just little tips that you can give them that you get to do in the NFL. You just don't get to do it at our level. I've always said since I came back to college, they got to go to the communicator for both sides. It makes it much, much easier. So they're just the way we do practice and the things we do. And, it's just kind of what I've always done since I since I went to Miami after the Eagles. And, it's kind of worked, and he likes it and all the guys like it. And I don't know, just that's the way we do it.
Mark, really quick, you've been at this for a long time. You've got a Twitter as well. When there's criticism with whether it's quarterback running to talk to you or whether it's the offense just not clicking in certain games, do you see that? Do you care about that kind of stuff at all?
No, I don't read anything. I'm old enough and wise enough to not read, so I got too busy doing other things. I have no idea what it is. I've been, and that kind of goes back away when you're young playing quarterback and being a coach. So I just care about the guys that are here and Kenny and talk to him about it that way. When I first got here, I talked to him, don't get on that stuff. It's even go back when Ben was things that way. You just take care of your own business. You keep your house clean and, can't tell anybody to do it if you don't do it yourself.